What's up? My name is Eric Butler. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back. We have a couple articles from the Washington ComPost opinion column. Why are we so tolerant of churchy bigotry? So this woman is genuinely asking, how come we haven't canceled the people who have a different opinion than me and still go to church? How dare they still exist? It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's super condescending, churchy, right? And of course, anything that goes against their narrative can immediately be deemed bigotry. So anybody with a difference of opinion can be called a bigot. And for you to use the term churchy, how dare, they still go to church, rubes, is absolutely despicable. You are more than welcome to not go to church. How about you just ignore them, right? Because everything they do, they jam it, they put it in your face, they try to sell it to you at every possible turn. Parades, history days, all of this stuff. And then somebody says, you know what, I really don't want it. Then they call you a bigot. It's ridiculous. And then we have this one. Why we should all be liberal? The power of an adjective. Okay, well, he's got the apparent definition here, especially not bound by authoritarianism, orthodoxy, or traditional forms. And naturally, these people want nothing to do with traditional forms, and that's fine. But if you want to talk about authoritarianism, you got to look in the mirror, bro. You guys are the ones forcing your opinions on everybody and getting mad when they don't want it. We don't want it anymore, but they just keep going, and they're going to call you a bigot, right? They're going to call you a rube. And naturally, the word liberal has been mutilated to where, like all the other words they use, it means nothing anymore. So, she says, when one of my kids was 12, he was invited to join an esteemed local choir, one of the crown jewels of Albany's Episcopal Cathedral of All Saints. Although he was an atheist, he didn't object to singing Christian music. Years in children's choruses and, quote, holiday concerts had accustomed him to that. So your kid is not an atheist. You made him an atheist. He didn't choose that, especially if he's singing church music. You might want to ask him what he thinks, but you foisted that opinion on him, which is fine. You're more than welcome to do that, but don't make it seem like he made the conscious decision to say, Mom, I'm an atheist. Give me a break. He absolutely didn't say that, especially considering he's singing in a choir. But as I, high on maternal pride, yeah, I'll bet, was calculating how I'd get him to 2 rehearsals a week, he asked me whether the church condones same-sex marriage, and I said I didn't know. He said, well, if they didn't, he wouldn't join. Yeah, that didn't happen. This is absolutely, these people can just tell you stories, and like I always say, just because they say it is enough to make it true. You can't question it. It's a personal story. Of course, you can't prove that it didn't happen, but do you really think that her 12-year-old says, Mom, I'm an atheist, and I'm not going to join, I'm not going to sing, I'm not going to join the church if they don't accept the gays? Because they don't like the fact that you have a different opinion, of course, but they want to force your church to accept them, even though they will not. For one, do not think for one split second they are going to accept you. They want to turn your thing into something that will accept them, and then act like they don't want it anyways. I checked. They most emphatically did not. When I told the choir master why my son was declining the invitation, he responded that progressive forces inside the church were working toward change. That's not good. It's a slippery slope. We're already pretty much at the bottom, though. You can go to even Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and see progress flags on the side of a church because they've been corrupted from the inside out. I wished him well. Even if their efforts succeeded, the change would no doubt arrive after my son's tenure as an angel voice advertisement for a discriminatory institution. Look, bro, why is it so hard for these people to believe they can't even fathom the idea that there might be somebody else out there with a difference of opinion? It doesn't mean they're bigots. It doesn't mean they hate you. It's just they were brought up a different way. It's okay. But you want to force them to accept you even though you're incredibly creepy. Right? Even though you want to force your opinions on them, but even when they're just doing their thing and not forcing their opinions on you, you say you need to change your opinion. You see what I'm saying? So they're going to shove it down your throat. They're going to sell it to you. They're going to have pride parades. And if you object, then you're a bigot. They're not going to shove any of that stuff in your face, right? You would never even know they existed. But you show up to them and then say, why don't you change this a little bit? And of course, if you give them an inch, they will take a mile. Are you impressed by the moral clarity I expressed? After having been schooled by a 7th grader, yeah, that didn't happen. You weren't schooled by a 7th grader. You are a weirdo, creepy, gender ideologue mom that is corrupting your children, even though he wants to sing in church, and you're saying, well, he's an atheist. And look, it goes on like this forever. maybe one day, maybe the Catholic Church and the Church of England will treat its LGBTQ congregants as equal. Look, they do. It's just that they have centuries old belief system that's okay. It doesn't make anybody less than equal. What are you talking about? Even maybe Pensacola Christian College will evolve. In the meantime, let's not be fooled by the religious belief talk. It's just no, it's not. Why this woman is so convinced that you cannot have a religious belief, it's just old-fashioned bigotry. And they're going to use that with everything. They are going to beat it into a paste, undoubtedly. And then you have this guy who wants to say, well, we should all be liberal. And that would be true if he would use the term liberal correctly, which I'm almost certain he will not do. The word liberal is noble and vexed, loved and hated. It is used by different kinds of people to refer to a wide constellation of worldviews and is denounced, and it is denounced from many ideological directions. It also happens to be the word most worth fighting for at this moment as an adjective. That is the thesis of what I believe will be the year's most important political book, Michael Walzer's The Struggle for Decent Politics on Liberal as an Adjective. So this turns out to just be another ad for a book, and we see this constantly where they write these opinion pieces and then they just, want you to go read the book. But obviously, I mean, these people have the term liberty, like actual freedom, means nothing to them. They do not want you to have, we just saw that the woman in the other article does not want you to have a religious belief. She is convinced anybody's religious belief is, it's unrealistic. How can anybody still hold a religious belief when we've been telling them for, 3 or 4 decades that it's not real? They should believe us. We're the only ones, right? Go be liberal. This is your new religion now. That's what's happening, is they want to get you. You should not believe in religion. You should believe what we are telling you. We are your saviors now. That's what's happening with the political regime, the media regime. They're trying to erase any of your beliefs and make sure that you believe them. And like I always say as well, they don't care as much what you do. You could be burning down a city, destroying stuff, fires, vandalism, targeting old people, Asians, whatever it is. But as soon as you think that, you know what, maybe I don't want my kids to watch this, or maybe I'm not down with this LGBT barbecue thing, then you're a problem. It doesn't matter how many crimes you committed, because we need to coddle the criminals. We need to coddle the illegals. We need to coddle the drag queens who are corrupting your kids, which is also strange because the drag queen story hour stuff, they are forcing that upon you. The New York AG did one just the other week. She is forcing it on you, even though she knows that people don't want it. There's protests outside every single time one of these things go down. And naturally, if a creepy old fat guy showed up at a library and started reading kids' books, it would not be accepted. If a stripper showed up at a library and started reading kids' books in skimpy little clothes, it would not be accepted. But if it's a man dressed up as a woman, it's perfectly fine. And they are going to sell that to you at every possible angle. And if you don't want it, you're the bad person. Meanwhile, they're doing their thing over there. You show up to their table and demand they change that. It's absolutely ridiculous. It goes on. Lord knows how many books have been written about liberalism as an abstract noun referring to philosophies ranging from classical liberal, laissez-faire libertarianism to New Deal and social democratic approaches to public life. And I'd make the educated guess that there have been thousands of political ads attacking liberals for all manner of sins and failure. Yeah, well, that's because the way you use the term liberal is not what it really means. But that's par for the course. That's with every single thing. They always manipulate the words. That's how they continue to gain power, right? Gender affirming care is one of the peak Democrat dystopian doublespeak euphemisms on the planet. Gender affirming care? You mean you're going to cut the junk off a little kid? And you got a video we saw just the other day of a woman pretending to be a boy saying that when she was 2, she wanted to offer herself. None of this makes any sense, but they are going to continue to push it. And if you push back in the least, I mean, look, we're here. This is CW2. We're doing it right now. It doesn't seem like it, where there's no muskets. It's not hot kinetic conflict, but we are here. As one, world famous radio host said, it's an informational war. All right, that's what's happening. And these 2 articles prove it, because this woman says, well, Why are we still allowing this? And then the other guy says we should be liberal, which fly directly in the face. But as we know, every single one of their talking points, every single one of their agendas, if followed to their logical conclusion, will undoubtedly every single time, like clockwork, conflict with another one of their talking points. But thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe.